had so many odds. Now, Constance, now you are in a male-dominated industry. What are the experiences, or what was the path that led you to this industry, and what were some of the defining moments in your life?
Well, I always tell people that I think for me, I grew up with siblings that were like really smart, math and science, and there were 4 of us.
Okay. Were you the only girl?
No, it's a sister and 2 brothers.
Okay.
And my mother was an educator, so she put a lot of pressure on us. And I really struggled with math and science. I struggled. But she realized that I was very talented. I was always drawing. That was my escape. So out of, she doesn't know anything, leave her alone. The other siblings were bringing home the grades. There wasn't much attention on me, which was, I think she didn't realize she was doing me a favor because it allowed me to
explore further.
Yes. So she kept buying me colors and paper, and, that's okay. If she's doing that, that's fine. So throughout my education, I was almost forced to do things that I could do with my hands. So I did home economics, I did agriculture, I did all those subjects. But there was, I think back then they didn't really understand kids like us.
When you say kids like us, what do you mean?
We're not the ordinary. We're not ordinary. We're different. We express our intelligence in other ways. And I use my hands, and that's what I was good at. So I did all those subjects. Then I did, it was A-levels, time for A-levels. There again, go and do art. Figure out subjects that, you could do. The educational system there wasn't really anything suited for us. So you find that a lot of kids then will start dropping out of school. A lot of us just simply you go along with wherever the wind takes you. So I ended up going to tech. I studied art. I thoroughly didn't enjoy my days in university. Was very rigid. You're supposed to do what the curriculum says. If you dare do anything out of the box, you're marked down. So in my frustration, I found myself working in a carpentry workshop.
How was that like?
Very interesting. I was just telling Ophelia here that the first day I walked into the workshop, it was owned by a woman, and I told her, I wanted to learn. She laughed at me. She's like, this really is a male-dominated industry.
No, the woman who owns the carpentry shop told another woman that this is not for women.
This is not for women.
Interesting.
Yes. So basically, I was given sandpaper, thrown into the workshop. I'm sure she thought within a week I'll quit. And when you're working with sandpaper, you're, sanding down things. It rubs your
hands.
Your hands, yeah. So basically, you can't eat with your hands. It's tough, really tough. And for the carpenters, I was in university at this time. These are artisans. So my job is every morning when you come in, you sweep the workshop. Lunchtime, you're buying lunch for everybody. So basically, I was just being bullied all over, but it was okay. I stayed.
Like the apprentice in the shop.
Yes, I ended up staying for 5 years. 5 years.
Interning every year.
Oh yes, every year. And the more I worked with the carpenters, the more I knew that this is where I belonged. And so I'll go back to school, and I started doing things, building furniture and doing all sorts. But you get marked down. But I knew that, let me just get the grades and finish, and I'll set up my own business. And I set up my accent and out right after university. And 19-year-old, we're the market leaders in what we do. And so I always say that, the thing about being different is you know inside that you're different. It's just having the confidence to find your own voice.
Right.
And finding out really what you're really destined to do.
Okay. Yeah. Let me come to Rhoda now. And Rhoda Chu is one of the 2 students that we have. Rhoda, you are at Don Bosco Technical Institute.
Yes, please.
Assignment. You want to be an engineer.
Yes, please.
Do you feel different as a person from other girls around you?
Yeah.
What makes you feel like you're different?
What makes you feel different is that everyone is like all my friends are like, I want to be doctors, I want to be this, I want to be that. But I'm here say I want to be an engineer, and none of my friends are going into that field. So I feel different, but I feel differently capable because that is what I can do, and that is what they can do.
I wish I thought of that when I was younger. Differently capable. Sounds very intelligent. What made you realize you were differently capable?
What made me realize that was one day I realized that maths and science actually wasn't my thing, and I was
Like
going
you,
to school
Constance.
always
Go ahead.
like learning maths and science wasn't my thing. I was like, you can do this, you can fix this, so why don't you focus and fix this? So I was like, okay, mobile phone is what I can do. I can fix the mobile phone. When it's sports, I'm like, let me just try my hands on something, and it works. So I'm like, why don't you go into this and do it and just leave the maths and science for another day? But I realized that when I went back to electronics, there was still maths and science. So I was like, see, you get to learn the maths and science also and just do the electronics.
How's the maths and science doing now?
We're on it.
I like that. Christabel is also here with us in the studio. Christabel, you were telling me earlier that you want to be an electrical engineer.
Yes, please.
Do you feel like you fully understand how male-dominated the field is? I mean, I was in an engineering school, and the electrical engineering class had very few women compared to the men. Do you appreciate the fact that this is something a lot of men are doing and not so many women are doing?
Yes, I appreciate a lot because when I came to the electrical department, I saw no girl in the class. So when I came, there was like, hey, it was full of calculations and stuffs, but still I never gave up. So when I went to the class, sometimes they make fun of me, but still I never gave up. So when I got to second year, like it was becoming high, but still I was in it. So like when all the time when I get home, I used to make some repairing of things, rice cookers, heaters, and then stuffs. So one day I was in the house and the woman came to call me to come and then fix a socket for her, not knowing the socket has not blown, but it was from the CCU. It's a consumer control.
What's the CCU?
Consumer control unit.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that. I mean, go ahead.
when I opened it, it was the fuse that got bent. So I took another wire and then we wound the fuse for her. So when I did it, I came and then tested the socket. It was functioning, and I was like happy. My auntie, she became more happier than I. So it was.
Does it happen a lot? Do people come to you and ask you to fix things?
Yes, I do. Yes.
And you feel happy whenever you do that?
Yes.
Wow.
So sometimes when even the guys they go to field, they do call me that. Yeah, let's go. So I do follow them sometimes.
So you're like the champion at time in the class.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Christabel, Oting is the one you just heard. You also heard Rhoda Achu. I'm coming to you, Ophelia. Ophelia is communications officer, like I said, at UNICEF. It looks to me, from what I'm hearing from these amazing women, is that apart from the actual skill, sculpture or electricals or whatever it is, there are issues surrounding the application of it. So that if you're in a male-dominated classroom, if you're in a regimented system, if you have to work with an employer, there are other issues around it, not just the learning of the skill. What do you make of that?
I agree with you that there are lots of other issues, that compound the already problems, the problems they already have. It's about how society accommodates us, because there are 600 million adolescents who have the strength, the creativity, and the energy to meet the needs that we require. This year's theme for the International Day of the Girl is "With Her, a Skilled Girl Force." But can you imagine if all of these 600 million girls have this kind of skill and they bring it to bear on the economy that we have? Just how much more awesome can this get? So it's how our parents, treat us, how we are oriented in the society, cultural values that we hold dear. We need to be able to say to ourselves, let's take a risk and shift it a little bit more and see how much more value we can add to ourselves, without already compounding the problem. For us in UNICEF, some of the things that we are looking at and some of the things that linkages that we are seeing is that girls have issues when they go to school and they don't have a toilet in their menses. Ultimately, they drop out.
Yeah.
Because they can't even find the space to be girls. How much more stay in school? We have become, carers, principal carers. So the now amount of time you spend in school, even when you transition into work, you can't have as many hours, Danielle. I couldn't probably have as many hours because I have to, get back home and do a couple. So lots of things mitigate already
the experience that you have when you're in school.
Situation that we have.
Okay. Let me do this quickly, and I want you guys to help me do this in 2 minutes. Okay. I'm going to come to you ladies, Rhoda and Christabel. What's the number one thing that you feel stands between you and your dream? Can you give that to me in 30 seconds? Rhoda, what's the one thing that stands between you and, whether as a girl or as a human being, what's the one thing that stands between you and achieving your dream?
Society.
Yeah. Okay, I have that word. Christabel.
Family.
Family, which is basically the same thing. How is society stopping you, Rhoda?
Actually, as a lady, everyone thinks that electronic engineering and electrical engineering is a man-dominated job. So when you lady take in for it, everyone is like, no, you can't do it, and you can't do this, you can't do that. But hey, yeah, we ladies are trying to make a difference here. So why don't you give us a chance?
So the mindset that society has
is that we ladies can't do it.
But how does that present itself? So we know society thinks in a certain way, but how does it present itself to you? How do you come to them? Do people tell you can't do it? Do people tell you not to take courses? How does it present itself?
Yeah, actually, one important thing is that my family is they're in support of it, and they're always around me. They're like, you can do it.
Okay.
But yeah, like the case, I met a guy recently, a friend. I went to mobile phone. Was like, a lady can't repair a mobile phone. So why don't you just sit around and go and maybe do teaching or nursing or something else?
And when people say things like that, it affects you?
It affects me, but not really, because I stand on what I want to do.
Okay. Christabel, is it the same way that for you family stands between you and becoming an electrical engineer?
Yeah. Sometimes, and my friends also, because now, myself, I don't have female friend at all. So
you don't have female friends at all?
No.
Constance can be your friend.
Seriously.
Go ahead.
So they'll tell me I'll die early because I used to go to field. Sometimes I go with the military. So they tell me I would die early, so please I should stop. My mother, she has been crying out why, and I told her no, she shouldn't. The first born, so she should encourage me more, but still she refused. That's the whole problem.
Okay. So Constance, sitting between these two girls, you are sitting on the other side of this. What's the most important thing that you feel they should know now, looking at the barriers that they face?
I think the first thing is to believe in yourself, because I said that there's something in us. You just know that you're different. You know you're capable. So the first is self-belief. We all have it in us. So it's up to you to bring that out. And I think once family and society, see that, well, there's this light in you that you refuse to dim, they begin to sit up, and that's when the conversations change. So that's the first thing I would say is, be confident in yourselves. Don't let anybody tell you that you're different. Of course we know we're different. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah. And being different is something to be